ends with beginnings. What keeps the planet spinning? The force from the beginning. Love. We've come too far to give up who we are. So let's raise the bar and our cars to the stars. She's up all night to the sun. I'm up all night to get some. She's up all night for good fun. I'm up all night. We're up all night to get some. We're up all night for good fun. We're up all night to get lucky. 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 The present has no ribbon. Your gift keeps on giving. What is this I'm feeling? If you wanna leave, I'm with it. We've come too far to give up who we are. So let's raise the bar and our cars to the stars. She's up all night to the sun. I'm up all night to get some. She's up all night for good fun. I'm up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to the sun. We're up all night to get some. We're up all night for good fun. We're up all night to get lucky. 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 We're up all night to get. We're up all night to get. We're up all night to get. We're up all night again. 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 Lucky. We're up all night again. We're up all night again. Lucky. We're up all night again. Lucky.
All right, guys, let's give us 5 more minutes. We're just finishing up here. It'll be worth the wait.
We're up all night again. Lucky. 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 All night again, 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 lucky. She's up all night to the sun. I'm up all night to get some. She's up all night for good fun. I'm up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to the sun. We're up all night to get some. We're up all night for good fun. We're up all night to get lucky. 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 We're up all night to get lucky.
Hey guys, we're getting ready to get started here in a minute. Are you guys ready? We ready?
What? Wait.
Ugh. Let's roll. Marty, I got to talk to you. It's about your kids. So, nice Back to the Future thing. So thank you all for coming today. I'm going to introduce our amazing MC, Crypto Wendy O. And Wendy, you have at it.
Well, I got out of that super cool car, and of course I bumped my head, because why not? I'm very clumsy. But anyways, I'm so excited. Today is day 2 of Cypherpunk. And again, I'm in a room with a bunch of people that are way smarter than I am. It's always good to be the dumbest person in the room at times. I'm excited for today. Are you guys excited? Yeah? And tonight is the night to party, okay? So I hope y'all are gonna go out tonight. They've got an amazing dinner lined up, and then there's that bit of an after party. It'll be fun, but we're gonna go ahead and get straight into it. This is a brand new term. POUW, proof of useful work, the future of GPU compute.
Let's go. Alex, we don't get a... There one more time, everybody, proof of useful work. This is it.
Are we live? We are live. That's your sentence. Are we live? Good morning, everybody. So today we're going to talk about proof of stake. Oh, wait, wrong slide. No, we're not. Proof of useful work. Dan came up to me earlier and he said, "Don't F it up. We've been working on this for a few years." 6, sorry. So no pressure, right? So, I asked the design team help me create a presentation for me and Alex. It's on the wall, a huge wall. So we're going to go through it. Some of the things you've already seen, because sometimes I go on streams and I leak things. So my apologies for that. So there will be things you've seen before. There will be things that you're going to be like, that's different. This is still a work in progress, so a little caveat there. We want to go in alpha the end of Q4, which is the next quarter, Alex, we got work. And then we want to go live with the beta next quarter in 2024. So should we dive into it?
Sure, go ahead.
Go ahead. You're going to be doing you're going to be doing things too, you know? He's going to go stand over there. He's like trying to get into the DeLorean and run away. No. Alex, you're up.
Oh God, that's far away. Thank you. So, my background is academics. I've been doing research for almost 5 years in University of Applied Science in Geneva. And I noticed myself as well while doing my master's thesis, and back then invested a lot into GPUs just for machine learning and AI. Unfortunately, millions are spent each year, and basically we're wasting resources. Why I'm saying wasting resources? Because all of these machines basically just sit there idle. I wrote a paper about it, like 4.7% gets really used year-round. So 95% of that is just sitting idle and losing value all the time. These GPU are quite expensive. They lose in value very quick because basically everything, all the AI models just evolve so fast that it's hard to keep up with. So every 5 years we've got to refresh the hardware, and that's more investment into it.
To give you an idea, 2 years ago he came to us. We had a meeting, me and Dan and Alex, and he's like, we got these big machines. They're like A6000s in them. They have a few hundred gigs of RAM. What was it? How many? 12 slots of?
Yeah, 12 slots, 64 gigs of RAM.
And he's like, we're barely using it. I'm like, well, we can probably help you with that, but we can probably run a Stratus node on them or some Nimbus nodes. And he's like, I want to do more. He's like, there's big GPUs in them too. So we started talking, and we onboarded him like maybe 5 minutes later. Like, the guy was smart. So we were like, bring him in. And he's not wrong. The amount of compute that's out there that's unused is ridiculous. And I know that from my own background as well. As an IT administrator, everything we do is overcompensate with our procurements. The vendor says, I need 2 cores, 4 gigs of RAM, more than sufficient. What do? 16 cores, 32 gigs of RAM, make sure it never goes down. Boom, we're overcompensating. And that happens with everybody. And that's a secure thing. We want to feel secure, and that's how everybody's doing it. And we're going to try and help those folks out by actually using that compute power now. So this is our vision. Go for it.
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier, unlocking idle power. So most of the times our workflow is never static. It's mostly dynamic. When we buy infrastructure, when we buy hardware, it's a static measure that you can't surpass that. What I mean by static is also that you cannot add more to it. If you want to add more, you got to buy another unit, and that unit is also static as well. You're just adding to it. A more dynamic workflow would be the better approach, but it's hard to realize with the current technology. So basically what we want to put into place is some place where we can share GPU. Share GPU when we're not using it, we share it to others, and when we need more, we basically use what we stored into what we share to others as basically Flux, and we can use that compute that we stored over time and use it all at once onto multiple GPUs. That way we can also basically perform most of the AI's models a bit faster. We can distribute the workload, we can use what we stored for like a whole month, for example, into just a couple of days.
Yeah, the vision here as well is to literally be a provider and a consumer. Just be the consumer, just be the provider, it doesn't matter. But what does matter is that as a provider, you're making Flux. At that point, you'll store an amount of Flux as you're mining, basically providing your compute power for AI, for rendering, even gaming. We did a proof of concept already with cloud gaming as well. And basically, you're going to be doing that on the side of your regular mining. We'll show you later on how that works. But basically, you'll be able to mine. So if you're not doing anything useful, you'll be still doing useful stuff for your coin that you're supporting. Don't forget, proof of work is still important as well. It is not a waste of electricity. It drives an economy. It's important. Never forget that. Even though we introduce a new term, proof of work itself is still very important as well. But you don't have to be mining Flux, right? Let's be very clear. You can mine any coin out there that you like, even the ones that I don't like. So we got some recommendations. These are recommendations. These are not requirements. For all I care, you launch a very old machine and hope for the best. I can guarantee you probably won't be picked by any time soon, but you basically decide yourself what you want to spend on this. You decide yourself what you want to hand out to your community and to your consumers, right? Don't forget, we're all decentralized system administrators. We all work together and provide, as a community, we provide that compute power to our consumers. So what do we need, or what do you recommend we need?
So you have to keep in mind when we come to hardware recommendations, when it comes to proof of use work, we're basically providing a service to clients that are going to rent our machines. So we have to establish a certain standard into these regards, and basically these are basically requirements that are going to be the baseline for proof of use work. In terms of the CPU and motherboard, just make sure that it supports virtualization. Most of the new ones do now. In terms of CPU, it's 4 cores per GPU. You can always go less, you can always go more. You will have to find the sweet spot. When it comes to the GPU, when it comes to basically AI workloads, you're going to prioritize maybe the VRAM or the speed that you're going to process the data, but it always depends on the use case and to who you basically cater for. If you want to provide rendering farms to people to do basically rendering, that was an easy one. Or if you want to do AI, it's going to be different needs and different requirements. You're basically becoming a small data center yourself, and you can grow yourself if you want to by investing into more resources, more machines. When it comes to the motherboard, PCIe lanes are important. I recommend Gen 3. You can go lower, but you're going to see in the benchmark, basically, the impact that will have on the learning. When it comes to the RAM, that's probably the most important part. I wouldn't go less than 25% of the VRAM of the GPU, and 4 times the amount of the VRAM would be what I would suggest. You don't have to go that way. You have to play with it, fiddle with it, and see what it's best to your use case, to what you want to provide to people.
So the reason we have these recommendations, and this is a little bit of an education piece, was for me as well. When you're doing AI, you're moving large data sets, and you're moving them from your hard disk, or you're downloading them into your hard disk, and then you have to move them into your RAM to move them fast into your GPU. That's why these PCI Express lanes are so important. It's literally bandwidth to move the data fast, in and out. You're doing this hundreds, thousands of times, constantly, in, out, in, out, in, out. And the slower your PCI lanes are, you're holding back everything else. So think about it as a big traffic jam. The wider the road, the more traffic goes through, the faster we go. And I always compare it to big lorries, big trucks, right? Big ass trucks driving down the road. The more we can put on there, the more data we can move, the more we can process. That's the important piece of it. And we've seen this slide a few times already. I don't think this is anything new, but I think it's a good reminder for everybody out there. So, do you need the latest and greatest for everything? No, but do know that you might not be always picked for the latest and greatest cool things out there, but we'll show that in a bit. There's other things you guys can do as well if you have a little bit older machine. So, what are we doing to make sure that we know what you have? And here we go again, Flux with their benchmarking. Well, we're in a decentralized world, so we don't know what people have out there, so we do need to know what you have. And when I say we, I mean the consumers, right? The consumers needs to know how much memory you have, how much CPU you have, and what your bandwidth looks like. The last one on the blocks here, the network one, is a vital one as well. I'm not going to say you need X amount of upload. I'm not going to say you need X amount of download, but download is going to be more important in this case, right? Not compared to our Flux Cloud solution, where upload is a very important one. Download in this one becomes important because we're downloading large data sets, right? We have to be able to get all the data in to have those trucks move through those PCI lanes. So we need to know the limitations. We need to know where you are so that we can provide the best service to all our consumers. A bit of a workflow, very high level. So there's a couple ways of doing it, and we'll go through it in a bit as well. But basically, your consumer, your customer will basically say, hey, I want to run, what does he want to run? TensorFlow things?
Yeah, sure.
For instance, he wants to text to image, right? So we'll have some predefined, out of the box, downloadable mechanisms ready to go. He'll pick them, he'll launch them. This is where everybody else comes into play as well. So what we've been thinking of is how can we incorporate everybody? So if it's smaller things, smaller jobs or projects, however you want to call them, we're going to be able to the 1080 Ti's. If it's a small job, those guys can easily do it. But there's also the opportunity for folks to say, hey, I want to use a bigger, I want to do a big job, I need a lot of things out there. And then they basically are able to say, hey, I need 1,000 3070s, I need 1,000 4090s. They'll be paying for that, but we'll have the network for that as well. So first they select, then we make sure the delivery and the distribution is secure. And how do we do that? Well, we have what we call 𝐂𝐬𝐬 2. What is that again? You're the technical guy.
Kubernetes deployment?
Yeah, exactly. So it's Kubernetes. We've been talking about Kubernetes for a while already. We're going to be utilizing it. So going forward, our proof of use work is going to be on Kubernetes. And why is that important? Remember, I said 1,000 GPUs. We're going to be providing big-ass clusters. Clusters that allow you to render, clusters that allow you to do AI work, and the folks that will be using it, and this is the kicker, they won't know that it's on Flux. They will not know the difference if it's Flux, AWS, Google Cloud, or Microsoft Azure. It'll look the same because we'll be utilizing software that everybody else uses in that space as well. Jupyter Notebook, for instance. So they'll be able to launch their AI work. They'll literally copy it from their Google Cloud where they used to use it, and then paste it into their Jupyter Notebook, and off they go. They'll be running it on Flux. Let's demo FluxCore. So FluxCore itself is the tool that will be installed on your machines. It'll be on Windows, it'll be on Linux. I'm sorry that it's a little messed up on the screen. I didn't know that. Sorry, guys.
That's all right. We're all hungover anyway.
Just think about that you're not wearing your glasses and that's how it looks, okay? But basically, we allow you to sign in with your trusted evil Google email address, if you have to. We have GitHub, we have GitLab. We can allow you to log in with a phone number. We can allow you to log in with an email address, and we'll have a Zell ID login as well. Why is it all important that we have this? These are your consumers, and as well as your providers. In the back end, we're going to make it available for you to be able to get all your rigs connected. Not just your rigs. You can pool your rigs together. You'll be able to pool your rigs together and form a larger company. And as a larger company, or a pool, however you want to call it, you'll be stronger together and allow you to present yourself as a larger entity. That will be important later on. Alex, you have anything to add to this?
Oh, good, thanks.
All good. So this looks like your traditional screen. Any other software out there has a similar thing. Why is that important? Usability. This is what people are familiar with. They are not realizing at this point they're logging into a blockchain project. Oh, this looks bad on the screen. Is there any way we can fix this? No, maybe. Basically, what we're trying to show here, and it looks a little jumbled. I'm very sorry about that. I don't know if you can fix this. Don't know if action is available. Basically, what we're trying to show here is your workers. At this point, you'll see 3 workers on the screen. If you can read it, at least. But I don't know if you can fix that. Give me 1 sec. It's amazing, right? They all have the greatest ideas. Oh, great. This is in Polish or in... That's awesome, guys. Thanks for that curveball as well.
Well, that does go on brand with the DeLorean.
Give me 1 sec here. I guess this means yes. Huh? Yeah. Give me 1 sec. My technical guy will fix it for me. Can you put it back?
Okay. 19. Doesn't work.
Yes, maybe. No, just show what you had there. That was great. It was just go back to the screen you had. That's the one I was on. Can you bring it back to 11? Give me a sec. All right. So Control plus.
It looks really good on here, guys.
Oh, it's awesome looking here. I'll just flip around. You guys just zoom in then, right? So I'll keep going while these guys figure it out. So basically, all the workers, at the moment they'll show the screen, you'll see all your workers. You'll see what type of worker it is. You'll be able to name it. You'll see the IP address. You'll see how much is making a day, which is important for a lot of people, I guess. But you'll also see your name of the machine, and you'll be able to get an entire list. Think of it as Hive OS and maybe NiceHash had something together, and that's how it looks. It actually looks really good if we could get it on the screen again. Rolls.
Bring it down.
That's the change that I made, but I'll let the experts deal with it. We'll share the PDF regardless for folks later on. I'll throw it on Discord as well, and then you can look at it in high resolution.
So while we're waiting, so you said a couple things in here that are really interesting. You talked about Kubernetes and the fact that that's going to be a part of it. So how do you see, is this like a clustering scenario where they're going to cluster together? And you guys mentioned something that I didn't even really realize about building the pools or teams consolidated. So does that mean that me and multiple individuals can get together and we can basically launch our own pool together?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that gives us some flexibility. So if anybody's familiar with running a pool or using a pool, you understand that basically everybody working together is going to be a higher yield. So I think what you'll see is a lot of mid-tier folks start to build these out, and you could actually see pools being formed on this work.
Yep.
Which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, so you're not going to have to join a pool. You're going to be able to create your own pools together, right? So you don't have to realize or listen or wait for somebody to set up a pool and then use a stratum and all that fun stuff. No, you're basically, if you have a group of folks that you know, you group together and you basically present yourself together as an entity.
Yeah, and the thing that is, as Davey and Alex were both alluding to, we need usability. We need it to be super simple. even more simple than setting up a laptop for a video presentation.
So how many ITers does it take to get it?
The AV folks here are great though, so you know, I think the biggest thing for us, and what you guys will see with this, is the simplicity that comes with the model. People ask what our core demographic is specifically for proof of use work, and although it is, you know, higher end enterprises as well, it's really every single person that wants to be part of the ecosystem. That means if I have a gaming computer that has 2 cards in it and I want to run it from 9 to 9, I can do that. And if you get tapped for a rendering job or something like that, or if I have dedicated machines, in my case, I'll have, you know, a bunch of cards that'll be idle and standby, ready to go. And as Davey mentioned earlier, and I think one of the biggest things is this, start doing the math. We've got approximately 148,000 graphics cards running on Flux, just Flux. So you start to extrapolate that out to every single proof of use for product out there, and you don't have to stop mining your asset that you're currently mining. You can just continue to keep doing that and be ready for proof of use work. And that's important. The other thing we're going to do is to enable the new folks coming to the space, because that's going to be a bigger demographic, I believe. People that want to make passive income with their cards. They want to participate in AI. They want to participate in rendering. They want to see future technology. They want to be part of it. We're all miners at heart, and we know that. First time we got that card up and hashing, how did that feel? Best feeling in the world, right? It's a high that you can't explain to other. I mean, we're kind of nerds though too, but you know, we want to give that feeling to every single person using that platform, and that's why proof of use work is so different from any other platform out there. The learning curve does not exist. If you can put your username and password in, and you can flip a toggle, you can now participate in proof of use work. We good?
I guess.
Hope so, yeah.
Yeah, can we switch over?
Is he going to do something? All right.
Can we switch over to the screen? Okay.
It is important, like Dan said, and I'll show you in a minute as well, ease of use. Literally, you start the program, and it's a step-by-step process to get you through. You don't need to do much.
Before switching topics, I would like to stay on that one. There's also not only miners and basically hobbyists that want to participate. Universities want to participate. We want to establish organizational units. We want to establish multiple granularity, basically, institutions.
Yeah.
Individuals, universities, institutions.
Yeah. I think the educational sector is going to be huge for this. We already see University of Applied Science in Geneva, Switzerland, and give me an A. I got it right. I said it right?
You'll get an A.
They're highly interested, because these institutions, every 2 years, they have to go out and they have to source a shit ton of graphics cards, a shit ton of compute. And then they let the students basically fight it out for who gets the use of the computers and so on and so forth. That doesn't exist anymore. They're going to essentially get a free pass on Flux, on proof of use of work, to go out and do whatever they need to do. And it's part of Flux University. So we're going to start out the education level at the very base. You know, there's a reason why Google gives, you know, Google Pro, which is like their teaching piece, to universities for free. It teaches people from day one, as they move out of high school and they move into college, they're going to use Google out of the box. So for us, it really makes it nice, because we're going to get that in at a very early level. People can participate in it very early on, and also it's completely free, which is pretty amazing. We're going to also, and I'm not going to steal Davey's thunder here.
Go for it.
We are also going to work on essentially, you know, allowing these universities to really develop on the platform as well, and there'll be initiative behind that'll actually pay for it. Okay, let's see what it looks like. That actually looks pretty damn good.
Hey, we can
We're live! And then I'll shut up and let these guys keep going.
I got a question for everybody in the audience here. How many of you know Kubernetes? Okay, quite a few. How many are really proficient at it? Okay, that's a lot less. I'm not raising my hand here, just FYI. Alex is. He's not even raising his hand. Kubernetes is quite the animal. It is, it's awesome when it works, and it can be very frustrating when it is not. So we're not gonna, I know some providers out there that make you go through a lot of loops and hoops to make sure you can get something running. Right? They make you install Docker, then a bunch of other commands. We don't want to do that. So what we did is we made it so that we can literally do a one-stop shop. Just click, go, that's it. We run all the commands for you in the back. We basically take care of hooking you up to the clusters. We basically make it happen that everything is in sync and you're good to go. You don't need to worry about anything. One of the things that I always dreaded was standing up nodes, right? It was commands after command after command. And Flux, we've done a really good job at this point. It's just for Flux nodes, I think it's 2 commands you need to run. And I know 𝐷oofus somewhere is in here with his Ansible. I think it's only 1 command for him now. Is it 1 command, 𝐷oofus? Half a command. There you go. That's important to us. We hear you guys. And not everybody is tech savvy, right? So if I'm a student, I don't want to go through all the motion of everything setting up. I just want to click, go, and play. Same for this. They click, they start it up, and they go through the motion. Can we get to the next slides? And back to where we were? Keep going. Look at that, all in high res. There you go. Pretty, isn't it? Look at that. So this is a screen that some of you have seen, and I know a couple YouTubers out there that I somehow got a USB stick out of my hands and were able to play with it. Full disclosure, this is from my design team still. As we were creating the presentation, I don't have as much data and everything, so I asked them to help out. And they're designers. And there's one thing that designers are not, is that they're technical guys. And I'll just point it out before everybody else points it out. A Radeon RTX doesn't exist. But it shows you what we do, right? You can see all the GPUs on there. And I don't know if, is there a pointer or something? You see all your GPUs nicely lined up. You see the load on them, your temperature, the memory usage. Are they online and are they ready for proof of use work? All of them are selected for proof of use work. That's the important piece. You can have rigs built out where half of them are, for instance, on a PCI 1 lane, let's say, they're not going to be as useful. So you could just turn them off. They can just be mining. You see some buzz on the right there next to status with a little gauge or gauge or whatever you want to call it and the play button. All of those things are settings that you can change. So you can change the memory, you can change the core, and of course, if you're in Windows, you can still use your trusted MSI Afterburner and play with it that as well. And everything gets documented. We know what CPU you have, we know what the motherboard is, and Alex, I think this is one of your rigs out of the university, because that's a big RAM. 625 gigs of RAM.
Oh, that's what's remaining. It's actually 7.
That's remaining. 6 times 20 terabytes of disk. Now I can already hear the comments in YouTube videos that people are posting today. Holy smokes, do I need that amount? No. This is an extreme amount. This is something we've been testing with, and the guys took that information and ran with it. All the way at the top, underneath Tangerine, you'll see uptime, reliability, institutions, secure cloud. Those are tags that we add to your rig. Those are the things that make you make more money, because we know who you are. So I'll use a dirty word here for everybody in the audience. It's called KYC. And why is that important? You don't have to do it. But if you do, people know who you are, and people know who they trust when they're working with you. Because you're working indirectly with your consumers, right? You're providing the hardware to them. So you need to be able to, people need to be able to trust you. They need to know somehow who you are. And the KYC piece helps with that. Again, you don't have to do it. The institution piece.
Repeat, you do not have to KYC.
You do not have to KYC. It's an option, again. but it allows us to present and make it more trustworthy, because we're still a decentralized network, right? People are scared of it. They need to learn to trust it, and this is how we bridge that gap. What other things are on there? Network, sending and receiving. This is the current throughput, so we're receiving a lot of data. And then, of course, you see all the usages. So you see GPUs are 4, the VRAM, the CPU temperature, usage, etc., etc. On the left, you'll see the menu bar. You'll see workers. This is one of your workers. There's actually multiple. I think if we go one screen back, no, okay. There it is, that's the one. That's the one I was trying to show you guys earlier, but it was a little jumbled up. This allows you to have your overview. And on the top right, you see scan network and add new workers. The scan network, no, that's not your local network. We're not going to start scanning your local network. It's just a terminology. Basically, every computer you sign in, you'll be able to hook them up. And I'm going to speed it up because we lost a little bit of time here. So we'll not be doing any AI today. Sorry. I'll make a separate video for you guys, and I'll work with some folks to demonstrate that. But you can see all your machines. These are all linked to your accounts. On the left as well, Flux nodes. Yes, you'll be able to use your Flux nodes and build Flux nodes on proof of user work. And why is that important? These are big machines. You put a lot of work in them, you put a lot of investments in them, you built them up, you added memory, you added big CPUs. Why not use them for other things too? Cirrus comes to mind, just FYI. Services and mining. There's of course rewards and other devices, but the mining one is important as well. That's the one that allows you to keep mining as you're not doing anything else. It allows you to mine your favorite coin, which is of course Flux, and then when you're selected to do useful work, or you apply for useful work, yeah, that's the thing, you can be applying for work as well. And I'll go quickly through that. Give me the next slide, please. The marketplace.
That's kind of new.
This is new. I don't think anybody has seen this yet. So this is one of the things that we'll be revealing today. Our marketplace, our hub, our get-together place, whatever you want to call it. We haven't settled on the name yet. But this allows the consumers to start their projects. Big buttons, not too much on the screen, easy to read. You can see, for instance, that there's 12 machines working for this account already. Or he has 12 machines running. I believe that's the case. They have 12 machines, right? Yeah. And it allows them to start a project. Can you go to the next slide? Quick launch and custom deployment. Quick launch allows you to do what I said earlier. You click on the button and it'll give you a wide variety of things you can run. TensorFlow, text to image. What else is there? We had a funny one yesterday with Dan.
Oh, text to voice?
Text to voice.
Yeah, terrifying.
That was scary. I didn't know you were into gardening.
Not into gardening.
All kinds of presets, basically.
Next slide, please. So this is the business hub. This is the reverse order of things. Everybody out there going from a vast AI and other projects out there, they make you choose your machines and you go from there. This is the other way around. I'm a project, I'm a university, or even me rendering in the middle. I want to be able to do something and I want to acquire GPUs. I don't want to go searching for which machine I need. I'll put out a request. Think of it as an RFP, right, where you request service. I'm basically putting out the request saying, hey, I need X amount of machines, and this is the deadline. By this time, you need to sign up, and then you decide if you really want to go forward, if you have enough signups or not. So this allows you, as a provider, to sign up for work. So you don't have to wait. As long as you meet their minimum requirements, and you can take a spot and off you go. Big difference than everybody else out there. This allows more interaction. This allows you to guarantee that you get work. Now there's a big caveat to it. Some of these things can last a bit. If you look at the top, it says duration 12/12/2023. If let's say the deadline is in 13 days, that would basically mean that you're hooked up for 3 months. 3 months of work guaranteed. And I'm gonna get pushed off the stage here. Oh, okay, good. So it allows you to do both ways. There's a lot of information on there, and I'll let you absorb it later on. I'm sure somebody's recording it as we go through this. So if you guys give me the next slide, because I know we're up for time. So your account, dirty fiat, MasterCards and Visas. So entities out there don't always use crypto. So this way, they can settle in a dollar or in euros or in Swiss francs for Alex out there. They can use their credit cards and purchase things. On the back end, we'll settle for Flux because you guys are paid in Flux. So we're basically purchasing Flux at market price and basically giving that back to everybody providing the hardware. Next slide. Alex, you want to take this one?
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier, we invest in a lot of resources. We can take an example of the car. We buy a car because we need a car, but most of the times we're not using it. It's in a parking lot. We have it because it's convenient. Same as our computers. But the thing is, it's hard to share it. What can we do to maximize the investment we made in? Is basically by either doing carpooling or renting your car to someone else. The carpooling is not the greatest solution because your car is basically given out to someone else, which you don't really want to. But with computers, you just rent the space on it. It stays in your room or wherever you have it. Basically, we're using existing resources instead of going out and buying more. As for universities, instead of going out and buying more basically machines, we tap into the network, existing resources. We share it out to the people and we gain back from it. And then when we want to use more, we tap into the pool, basically. So it kind of contributes to a more sustainable industry as well because we limit consumption and basically overproduction by getting basically overhead in terms of...
Basically the unused compute,
Yes.
We're using it up.
We actually call it run till death.
It's run
So
till
if you've
death.
got your 1070 Ti's or your 1080 Ti's laying under the desk somewhere, dust them off, refurb those bad boys and get ready to go because this is going to be perpetual compute. So but basically there's strength in numbers with proof of use work. If you have 1070 Ti's, they can basically equal an A100 or something of that nature. We have probably even less than that, but yes, strength in numbers.
All right, next slide, please. Reward system, claiming rewards, dashboard visibility, rewarding machine contributors. So basically, as I went through it, as you sign up, you basically be paying or be paid in Flux. And then you'll be able to claim it at any given time. The fee structure is very simplistic. If you're KYC and you're an institution, and the more tags you gather, the less fee you'll be paying because we want to reward those folks presenting themselves like that. And yeah, I'm not going to talk price just yet. We'll have to wait for that till we're in alpha. Next slide, please. And that's it. Can we quickly switch over to my feed? And hopefully it'll be not too...
Is this a video? All right, while he's finishing that up, so we'll close. What I'd like to do is just take 2 seconds and thank the entire team who worked on this, guys. There's very few moments in technology where you're there from the ground level. I felt it in the early .com. I felt it when I found Bitcoin, and I feel it with proof of use work. We're changing the paradigm. If you're not excited about this, you should be. This is fucking amazing. This is a game changer. This allows us to provide resources to the people that need it the most. So if you're not excited for it, you should be, because this is it. All right, Davey, thank you. I'm sure there's a wonderful video that comes with this, but we've been having some AV issues, so.
I know there's other speakers, right? So I think they want some time as well.
Yeah. So go ahead and thank you to everybody. A round of applause for Davey and Alex.
Thank you.
Oh, here we go.
Still nothing?
Is that it?
Nothing? Okay, it's not coming through.
Okay, well,
I'll set up somewhere in the back.
Okay, guys, because we are running behind, we're going to bring the next speaker on right now. Wendy is somewhere here, and I'll let her handle it. Thank you.
Sorry for the technical.